What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And yes, I know in the last one I said the TJ was ready to go and hit the trails, and it is. You know that I would send it exactly how it is, but I figured sometimes it's good to have a second set of eyes, and I need an alignment because let me show you. You can see how far this wheel sticks out and how far this one sticks out. It's not very even, so we definitely need to get that looked at. So we need an alignment. I don't know if that's from when we broke the bolt on the upper control arm in the rear, but yeah, we need that aligned. The front we need aligned, and I need an oil pan. The oil pan, well, it's not terrible, but she don't look too good either. If you take a look, it's a little bit crunchy in there. So it's not perfect, but we're gonna get a new one anyway. So we need the oil pan, we need an alignment. I'm gonna get them to take a look at that power steering leak just to make sure. And I have some sort of like a squeak in the front end under the hood. I don't know if it's the water pump, but I just replaced it a few months ago, or if it's the power steering. So we'll find out. I'll get them to take a look at that. So sometimes it's good to get a second set of eyes to look at it. Gotta bite the bullet and pay for some work here and there, even though I like doing most of my own work. But yeah, so let's get that taken care of. And first, because I put it through a couple heat cycles, let's fill up the coolant in case there's any kind of air that got trapped in the system. Whoa, I guess she's full. And no, she's not hot because I haven't driven it in a bit, but I guess it's full. So yeah, stay full, my friend. Let's get out of here. All right, and they're opening the shop for me so that we can leave her inside. And I know a lot of people ask me all the time, where should we go to get work done? Right here. So if you guys need work done, definitely come check out TFT Off-Road in Burlington, and they'll get you guys right. But I think we're gonna leave the Jeep here, and I've got something interesting for you guys at home. I know it looks like it's nighttime, it looks like it's 11 o'clock, but it's really like 7:30 or so. So let's head back, and I got something interesting to show you guys. Well, I knew I smelled coolant on the way here, but what the heck? Because the rad is intact.
No teeth mark in the rad.
Yeah, the cap is on tight, and it doesn't seem to be coming out from the cap. Like, the overflow's very full.
That might be it.
You think it's over full now?
Potentially. What I'm concerned with is if you do have a head gasket problem, it's going to be blowing combustion pressure
And then making...
and overpressuring the system and blowing it into the reservoir.
Well, I cleaned off the head, and it seems like the head is still clean there. Like, you can see it's sweating a tiny bit over there. But that's like,
not terrible.
Yeah, I'm not really concerned about that. If it sweats that much here and there, that's fine. It's not actually like leaking. But this has to be from the overflow, because if I'm looking at it from dead ahead, it's dry on this side, and right above the overflow, it's perfectly where it would be coming from. So, and she's full, like, yeah. And I'm telling you, like, literally before I came here, these guys can vouch for me. I opened it after not driving it for like 3 days, and it went everywhere, and it was cold, so the system was still under pressure. So maybe there's an airlock in there somewhere, because it wasn't running when I opened it, obviously. Like, I wouldn't... Heat works fine, because I was running the heat on the way here, so the heater core is circulating at least, I know that, or at least it's full. But yeah, that's odd, eh?
Mm-hmm.
I knew I smelled coolant all the way up here, and I'm like, yeah, it's probably because I opened it and it blew off a bit on the rad, and it's just burning off.
So that's what I'm wondering, if it's just blowing it up here, spraying it all over.
That's what I'm thinking it is too. I'm thinking it's coming out of there. And you know what? When I first started driving on the way here, I didn't hear the squeak anymore, because it was making a squeak under the hood. Halfway through, it started making the squeak. So I'm thinking halfway through, when it hit temperature, is when it started coming out of there.
Yeah, for sure. And then it got on your belt and eliminated your squeak.
So the temperature stayed solid the whole way here. It never went funny, it never did anything weird. It was good. So at least it was cooling, but Maybe it's over full now. I overfilled it because this was only half full before.
It's not likely it's over full.
You're thinking it might be combustion gas pushing it through.
I have a tool that I can like put on here once the engine's cold.
Yeah. To check. Leak test.
Yeah, leak test.
Okay. Yeah.
So
well, there you go.
In the morning real quick.
There you go. We'll do that. So I guess I'll update you guys once I find out more because yeah, I guess she's in the right place now. Oh, okay. Now, what I was talking about earlier is I've got my old transfer case that I destroyed earlier last month to go and show you guys. And we're gonna tear it apart and see exactly what's wrong with it, see exactly what I messed up, how it messed up, and yeah, just something to do while we're waiting for the Jeep. And he was saying he's gonna do a compression test on it tomorrow, but we're hoping that it doesn't need a head gasket. We don't know yet, but it could be that it's pushing out the coolant through the radiator because of the compression. So yeah, I'm hoping that's not the case because it's not burning coolant, but we shall see. So I'll update you guys once I find out more. But for now, let's go and let's tear that transfer case apart. And drop a big like for Vince, because he's the champ right here. He's taking us here and he's bringing us back. So yeah, if it wasn't for him, the Jeep wouldn't be getting fixed. And you guys hear that? That's right. You don't hear anything because we got that wheel bearing for Vince.
It's so nice and quiet now.
Oh man, it's nice when your car actually drives how it's supposed to.
Oh man, for real.
I wish I knew the feeling. Nah, but for real. The Jeep should be good once we get it back. And here it is. So we're back in the garage and they just renovated this place. Like you can see it's very nice and clean. And they just did this like a week ago. So that's why I made this makeshift workspace, just to keep everything kind of contained and keep the mess to a minimum, because yeah, you don't want to be making a mess for no reason and you don't want to be getting in crap. So let's keep it nice. So let's take this thing apart and let's see exactly what I did to it this time, because this is the second transfer case. The first one grenaded itself, like pieces of the case came off. There was a big crack running down the middle. This one isn't so bad, but I'm still interested to see what's inside. So let's take her apart and see. All right, there we go. And there's our problem, or at least some of it. You can see all the gears in here, or the ring. This is the selector ring, I believe, that engages four-wheel drive. And she's gone. You can see a piece of it there. But yeah, in here, this shaft is broken right off, and I don't think I broke that off right now. So I think that's why we were free spinning and why we had no rear wheel drive. So there's your answer to that. We did break this shaft just internally. So yeah, this thing definitely doesn't look happy. There's parts of that selector ring. So yeah, the chain seems intact. I don't know why we're locked up, because we cannot spin the front drive shaft at all, and we still can't shift it. So I don't know what the issue is there. But I guess we can keep taking it apart further to see what's going on, because I couldn't tell you just from this side right here. All right.
There we go. Got it.
I guess that's what it is. Gotta push that pin through in the middle there. And what do we got going on in here? Why are you not turning? Well, I'll tell you one thing. The chain is really tense and really bound up. For whatever reason. Ah, well, there you go. If you see here, it came off all the teeth. So it's kind of just sitting on top of the teeth instead of in between them like it should be. Yeah, that's definitely not healthy for the chain. That's why she's bound up and she has so much tension on her. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, let me see if I can find the master link, because it looks like this one because it's blue, so it kind of stands out, but I'm not sure how it comes off. Because usually they slide off, but this one doesn't have any kind of like holes in it that I can see that it would pop on and off. So I don't understand exactly the method of installation. Oh, there we go. That fixed the chain real good. Now she's gone there. See? She's very loose, which is also not a good sign, but will it turn now? Yes, it will. So it just skipped a tooth, and that's why it got stuck, and that's why it got bound up. Or it got bound up and skipped a tooth. Either way, that's why we broke the front stub shaft, because it locked up the front and all the power had to go somewhere, and even with an open diff it'll still go to one wheel, and if that one wheel wants to turn and it's not going anywhere, that's what happens. So I was driving on the highway when this happened, and my stub shaft basically exploded and flew into the woods, and yeah, good times. So now at least we know what happened here. So there you guys have it. We definitely destroyed this transfer case. Why it didn't want to shift, that is probably also because, oh no, I'm spilling fluid. Okay, let's not do that. It probably didn't want to shift because it was stuck, and it needed to have that little bit of play to be able to shift over. You'll also know that if you're trying to shift from 4 low, you'll need to be in neutral. So it's the same kind of idea. When it's in 4-wheel drive, it needs the wheels to be able to turn just a little bit so that it could skip over into the next setting. And, well, there you have it. It was not able to skip over. So, I guess we have found our problem. And I guess I'm gonna leave this as is without making more of a mess, because I'm already spilling crap everywhere. So let's leave this, let's put this back into its box. And this is garbage because there's nothing that I'm doing with this. I'm not saving this. I'm not saving any parts in here. Transfer cases are pretty cheap. Like the last one I think I paid under $100 for. The one before that was like $60. So yeah, definitely I'm not too worried about that. I'm gonna toss all of this, take it to the scrap metal recycler, and we should be good to go. But yeah, seems like we bound up in the front, broke the shaft, it jumped, or actually that's when we broke the rear diff. So it probably bound up in the rear, broke the shaft, made this skip, which bound up the front, broke the stub shaft in the front. So there you have it. Diff, transfer case, and stub shaft in the front, all in one go. Yeah. Okay, got her all done, and you can see we packed it up pretty good, and we actually kept it pretty clean in here. Like, there isn't crap everywhere, which is nice, and there isn't like a whole puddle in there either, which is nice. Well, we're back, and I'm here in the daily, but we're back with the Jeep. And a few things. So the next day they tried to bleed the cooling system, but it was spewing coolant still every time they tried. And then I figured, okay, I told the guys, do a leak down test so that we can see if it's the head gasket, if it's actually like So basically a leak down test is you remove the spark plug, you attach a pressure gauge, you turn the vehicle over without starting it, and it builds up pressure in the cylinder, and you watch to see if the pressure has dropped. And basically the pressure didn't drop, it stayed where it should for 4 out of the 6 cylinders. 2 of them, the pressure didn't drop either, but the pressure was lower. So they were all at around 160, 165. 2 of them, one was at 140 or 145, and one was at like 130. So that's not good. They definitely shouldn't be there, but they weren't leaking. So that just means maybe the rings are bad or something. The engine's got over 100,000 miles on it. It's got over 160,000 kilometers. So could be rings, could be whatever. But there's nothing in the oil. There's no weird like idle. It doesn't idle rough. Everything runs as it should. So I'm gonna top the coolant off. I got some coolant with me. And let's see if she spits it back out, and then if she doesn't, if she takes the coolant and I can bleed the system, then let's go for a drive and see what happens this time. And if it's good, then we're doing the oil pan and the alignment and we're sending it. All right, back in the Jeep, and basically I ran it for like 10-15 minutes with the cap off. It was boiling a little bit, like I wouldn't say boiling, it was bubbling, because it wasn't boiling. Once the bubbling stopped and it subsided, like you could see it's just coolant, like it's not boiling, but it bled. Like there was a bunch of air in the system. I put a bunch of coolant back in there, both from the bottle and from the overflow tank or overflow bottle. Now the overflow bottle, however, was very full, like full. So I put whatever was in there back into the system, and now it's just below full. Like it's in between the minimum and the maximum line. So let's go for a drive, let's boot it up, and let's see exactly what she does, because I'm kind of hopeful that we can actually get this thing back on the road and running, because it's not blowing smoke, there's nothing in the oil, the coolant isn't like all oily and murky either, so that means it's not mixing. So that means the head gasket is still separating the 2 fluids like it should be, and it's also, well, separated, keeping separate the 2 fluids, and it's also not leaking into the cylinders. Now the only other thing that we're thinking could be a possibility here is the actual cylinder wall could be cracked somewhere, just enough that it's putting pressure and fumes into the cooling system, which is why it was boiling over before. So we'll see. Let's go for a boot, let's go for a drive, and see exactly what's happening, because I have no idea. I've never dealt with it like this before, but I've never ran it that dry before. So I've never had an issue to the point where the entire system was dry. Like usually when I go to refill my cooling system after doing a radiator, the block will still have all the coolant in it. So yeah, let's go, let's see what happens. Wish me luck. Hopefully I don't get stranded, but I'm not gonna be going too far. I'm not planning to go on the highway, but I am on like a service road that is right next to the highway, so it's completely empty, long straight road. So let's go and let's see. Yeah, you can see it's just a long straight road. I smell coolant, but that just could be from the coolant that spilled out from bleeding. Like it looks all right. I think so far it looks okay. Yeah, I don't know, looks good. Overflow tank is still at the same level. I just smell coolant, so I figured I would check. But literally, like, I didn't cut the video. You guys know how long we've been driving, so I think we should be okay. Let's keep going. Yeah, and I don't see any coolant like on the ground behind us there, so it's not actively leaking. So who knows? Let's keep going. You know, you gotta really test it out. It sounds like you're screaming, but it's like 3,000 RPMs. It's just loud because this thing's, one, is straight pipe, two, it's a piece of shit Jeep, so. But yeah, it's still fun. It's not like banging gears in a fast car or anything, or like a tuner or anything fun, but it's still a little fun. Like it's you're still having fun. But honestly, on the way here, the temperature was a little bit more fluctuant. Like it would go a little bit past center, and then once you started driving, it would come back down to center, a little bit past, a little bit down. Right now, it's been rock solid the whole time. So I'm gonna pull over in a minute because I've been booting it for like the past 5-10 minutes. So the engine definitely got a good workout. So let's pull over in a second and let's see if it gets hot when it's actually just sitting there and idling. All right, let's see. Like I said, it's actually sitting pretty good right now. Better than it's been sitting the entire time that I've been driving it since the new rad. So let's see if it stays steady and if it decides to cooperate with us or if it wants to be a bitch. The overflow is staying consistent. I know it's hard to see on camera, but it's like right there. So that's a good sign. And yeah, like honestly, doesn't sound too bad. And that noise, the guys are telling me, is my alternator. So we're gonna get another alternator. This is the second alternator I've put on here since the new engine, and I guess this one is bad too, so alternator time soon. But that's easy. That's like 2 bolts and you take off the belt and you're done. Like I can do that in 10 minutes in the parking lot. It's just this, I don't know if it's gonna overheat on me again or not. And if it doesn't, then I think I'm gonna call it good. But like, yeah, there's a lot of pressure in there for sure. That's hard as a rock. But then again, it is running and it is under pressure, so it's to be expected. Once it cools down, if it's still under pressure, then we can be a little bit concerned. But let's go. Let's give her another good boot and let's see exactly what's going on, because I have a good feeling about this that we might be going out this weekend. You know me, man, with this Jeep, I'm gonna send it. With the Gladiator, I'm a little bit more nice. I like to keep it nice, which is why I haven't gotten rid of this thing just yet, because I don't wanna take that thing out every single weekend and trash it. I wanna take it out, I wanna enjoy it, but I don't wanna beat the crap out of it and turn it into this. So, we're gonna keep this one as long as we can, but we're still gonna build that one. I wanna build that into like a nice proper rig this year. So, let's go, let's keep booting it, because temperature's staying solid. Well, another 15 minutes of really pretty good booting it. And like, yeah, she's good. The temperature has not moved. It's been rock solid, just like that upper rat hose. But yeah, like, to be honest with you guys, I guess she just got excited when I pulled her into the shop. She peed herself because of excitement. She hasn't been in a shop in so long. She's like, oh my God, I'm finally gonna get a real mechanic. No, who knows? Honestly, I couldn't tell you, but we're back now at the shop. Let's hop out and let's take a quick look at that overflow and see if she overflowed. And to be honest, it doesn't feel like it. Like, it doesn't smell like it. She's still running solid. Like that sounds healthy, man. Yeah. Overflow is still at the same level right there. So yeah, like, I'm gonna shut her down, but I think she's good. I think the bird's gonna live. Hell yeah. Oh, it didn't like that one. I don't know why the the gauge went there, but yeah, we're not in gear. I don't know, but yeah, she's sounding healthy and she's not overheating. Let's turn her off and let's see. Yeah, still at the same level. Like, no boiling. Yeah, like, seems okay. There's a little bit of fumes coming out of there, but that could just be burnt off coolant from around here that I'm seeing. Yeah, like, I don't know, she's looking pretty good. There's a little bit of smoke in there, but I'm not too concerned. It's not overheating, it's not overflowing, like literally no more coolant went in the overflow. I think we're good. I think I'm gonna leave it here for an oil pan and call that good. We're gonna do the oil pan, we're gonna do the alignment, and I think we're good to send her, because like, yeah, what else am I to think if it's not overheating and it's good? Like, temperature gauge still solid. Yeah. Well, we dropped the keys back off to Big Bird, to the guys, and to be honest with you, I'm quite surprised. I'm very happy. I'm happy I don't have to spend thousands of dollars. I've already been calling Darnell, asking him for Jeeps. I was gonna buy that big blue one off of him, the thing that he's got like a Ford 9-inch in the back and Dana 44 in the front. I'm still not saying I won't pick that up one day, or I might pick that up and do something with it, but yeah, right now I'm happy that the Bird is gonna live to see another trail. But to be honest with you guys, like, yeah, I'm not stupid. Is the head gasket bad? Most likely. Is the block cracked? Very, very possibly. Is it running good, and am I gonna keep sending it? Fuck yeah. We're gonna keep sending this thing to the moon. And I've got CAA, which is like AAA in the States, so if something happens, I have a tow truck waiting for me. So I'm not worried about that. And I'm not trying to spend an arm and a leg. So if it's still good and it's still running and it's not overheating, I'm gonna keep sending it. And that just means more footage and more good times and more videos for you guys. So hopefully you guys will be there with us. Please jump down there, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. This video is not over yet. We will be picking the Jeep up, and I'll let you guys know how the alignment went and how everything else went. But yeah, I guess I'll catch up with you guys when we're back at the shop. All right, it has been a few days. Actually, it's been almost a week actually. So let's go back. We're heading back right now. We're with Vince in the Mazda, and hopefully everything is good on the ride home. But we got the rear drums and shoes done. They replaced one of the rear wheel cylinders. So basically what like the caliper is in the front, the rear has wheel cylinders because it's drums and shoes. So they replaced one of those. They replaced both drums, both shoes, both sets of shoes. They did the oil pan, and they also did the alignment. Oh, they also got me a alternator. They also got me a tank for the power steering. So the power steering reservoir was cracked, and that's what was leaking. So it was cracked right at the fitting. So that's why it was coming right down the hose. And they said that they checked the hose is okay. They replaced the power steering reservoir. So the pump is okay. It was the reservoir that needed replacing. They replaced that, and from there, I think we're good to go. So we got a new reservoir, new oil pan, alignment is done, as well as so I know it was oil pan, power steering reservoir, alignment, and I know I'm missing something. There was one, oh, the alternator. It's because they didn't do the alternator. They got me an alternator because like, no offense to them, they're great guys, I appreciate their work, but I don't want to pay somebody to do something as simple as an alternator when I can go home and 2 bolts and a tensioner pulley and I'm there. So yeah, When it's something I really don't feel like doing, I'll take it to these guys and I'll let them do it because they're professionals and I know that the job's gonna get done right. Just like if I had to do the head gasket, I'm more than likely gonna take it to them. One, because I can do the head gasket at home, but if I take it apart and I need to go get the head machined, or I need to do this, or I need to do that, or there's a crack in the block, at that point, I'm not gonna be sitting there like, okay, let's go replace the whole engine right here in the parking lot. So I would rather have it somewhere where they have the facility and the ability to do those types of jobs. Regardless, let's go pick the Jeep up, let's get her back. I'm gonna do the alternator, and then tomorrow we're going off-road. Today's Friday. It's actually the 22nd, so it's 2 days before New Year's Eve. Tomorrow is the day before, Christmas Eve. Tomorrow's the day before Christmas Eve. We're gonna go off-roading. We're gonna hit Minden Off-Road Park, or Ray's Place, formerly Ray's Place, and we're gonna have a good time. And then we're gonna come back, do Christmas, and then next week, the day before New Year's Eve, we're going to another off-road spot, which I'm not gonna ruin for you guys just yet, but it is one of the best ones that we have been to. And definitely it's gonna be a send fest, so stay tuned for that. But let's go and let's get the Jeep. Well, she made it home. Temperature is good, just slightly above where it should be, so I'm not too worried because, like I said, mine usually sat there. Maybe there's still an air bubble in the system. We will check that in the morning before we go out. I will also be getting a bottle of the rad sealant just in case the head gasket is bad. I'll pour that in. But there is one more thing we need to do, and she's running healthy. And if you hear that, and I'm not talking about the bald eagles coming out of the tailpipe, I'm talking more about that like whining. That's not my supercharger either. That is my alto rendimiento, or rendimiento. So I think that just means remand, but this is my alternator and this is my remand alternator. So we will be throwing this guy in. Let's just let her, oh, she's getting a little more hot. Let's see if she's gonna overheat. Let's let her run for a second, see. But if she doesn't overheat, once it turns off, I'm gonna be throwing this guy in there. Then we'll go get the rad sealant, let it cool down all the way, throw the rad sealant in there, and see what happens from there. But yeah, I'm gonna let it run for a minute and keep my eye on this. So I let it run for a bit. It did not overheat, but you see that bubbling? Oh, hold on, I gotta let Vince in the building. But you see that bubbling? That is telling me that most likely we have a crack somewhere in either the cylinder wall, or there's a slight little gap in the head gasket somewhere, because we are obviously getting some sort of exhaust gas being pushed into the cooling system, and it's pushing the coolant out. So what we're gonna have to do once everything cools off, because to be honest with you, it doesn't even feel that hot because it probably lost enough coolant that there's no hot coolant in the top. I'm gonna let it cool off for like an hour or so, come back, and what we're gonna do is get that rad sealant stuff, throw that in there, throw the new alternator on, go for a drive, and see if she's still making that whining noise and see if she's still overheating. But to be honest, yeah, like she drives fine, so I think it should be okay. Let's go, let's get that stuff and let's see what happens. Okay, I just got back from the hardware store. The cooling system, surprisingly, is feeling like it's not pressurized anymore. Like it's pretty malleable. So that's a good sign, meaning that either the pressure released itself or it's not building as much as it was before, but I'm still not confident. So that's why I went and got a few things. Now, I'll tell you a quick story before I run through this. My buddy bought a vehicle once that was smoking terribly. Like it was making clouds, and we poured in probably like twice as much stuff as you see here all at once, and that thing lasted him like 2 or 3 years. It was ridiculous. Sorry, it was ridiculous. I apologize about the noise. I'm in an underground garage, but that worked. So I kind of have faith that this might help. This is an emergency block seal or radiator sealer. Larger leaks in radiators, intake manifolds, gaskets, heater cores, blocks, heads, and freeze plugs. So yeah, no draining required. This stuff will hopefully do the job for us if we get stuck on the actual trail. This is what we'll be using today. Heavy duty blown head gasket, head seal, repairs blown head gasket and intake gaskets, seals warped, cracked heads and blocks, excuse me, seals warped, cracked heads and blocks, stops overheating and coolant loss, fixes bubbles entering the cooling system. We've got probably a good majority of that. Safe to use, works quickly, and one dosage stops all head gasket problems. Antifreeze compatible, no flushing required. This looks like it'll be our best friend. This was the most expensive one. This was like 50 bucks. This was like 12 bucks. This was like 12 bucks. And this was like 10 bucks. This is for that low compression, stops and seals leaks, restores performance, increases compression and horsepower. We'll see what happens. That we're gonna put in when the oil is low enough to accept that. This will be for the front diff, because that is still leaking. So this one seals all oil leaks, reduces noise, protects gears, works in all gearboxes, differentials, posys and axles, posy axles and more. Yeah, as you can see, there's a theme here. I'm not sponsored by these guys, but all their stuff looked like it was decent enough. So let's see what happens. First, we're gonna do the alternator. Then, once everything's a little bit more cool, we'll do this guy. We'll see if the engine oil is low enough to do this. This goes in the glove box, and then I'll add, it says to use 1/3 of the bottle per liter of fluid in the diff, and there is at least a liter in there right now, so we're gonna use 1/3 of the bottle. And yeah, but you can see she's been leaking out a little bit since we got back, and I think that's coming off of the rear main, the pinion seal, because it's dripping down from the back over there. So that's not good, but we'll take care of that in a minute. So let's go, let's get everything put back together, and hopefully we can get back to sending it tomorrow. So I wish I could get a better shot for you guys, but to be honest, I'm using the camera light as my only light because I didn't bring any of my regular stuff, just because I wanted to get this done and out of the way. I kind of just started going at it and didn't think that I didn't have all my supplies. I have all the tools I need because I keep them in the Jeep and they live there, but I did not grab any lights. So it's all right. Alternator's pretty easy. I'm gonna loosen these 2 bolts. I already took the battery off, or took the battery connectors off the battery. I did both just in case, because we are dealing with the positive cable here, so you don't want to ground anything out. And once I crack, there we go. Once I crack both these bolts, I'll pull the tensioner back, get the belt off, and I'll loosen the bolts off, and we'll get a new alternator in there. Now, if you guys remember, we did this alternator earlier this year when we replaced the engine. However, this was the alternator off of my old engine. And I know that it was replaced 4 or 5 years ago, but after 4 or 5 years of heavy off-roading, winching, and everything else, I guess it's on its way out. So, let's put in a new one, I guess. But you can see how nice and clean this reservoir is now because it's brand new. And who knew? You can replace the reservoir separate from the actual pump. And if you guys ever find yourselves bored, or you want to find a hobby, or you don't have enough things to do, trust me, get a Jeep. Look, like, it's home 10 minutes, and I'm already wrenching my ass off. All right, come here. Just really on there, eh? There we go. There's one. Yeah, you can hear it. There's one cooked alternator. Perfect. I think she'll do us well. She ain't going anywhere. Well, moment of truth. I don't think there's pressure in here. Okay, that's a good sign. And she's a little low. I hope I have enough room to pour that stuff in. But we're gonna have to empty out the overflow because the overflow is very, very full. So we'll take care of that. But let's see if we can get this head gasket seal in there. Okay, she's the thick stuff. So as per the directions, we have just poured in half the bottle for this size cooling system. And it says, once you pour in the fill the radiator and overflow tank to proper level, reinstall radiator cap and turn heater on and fan on high, run engine until thermostat opens or normal operating temperature is reached. This may take 30 minutes or longer, won't with this thing. Top off radiator, add coolant, and either run engine at high idle. So oh yeah, it tells you turn vehicle off, allow engine to cool. Top off the radiator, and then either run engine at high idle or gently drive for 15 minutes, turn vehicle off and allow to cool. So top radiator off and leave the stuff in the system, continue protection, and drive vehicle as normal. All right, so now we're gonna start her up after I empty the reservoir, and she's pretty full. Like, I don't think we need more coolant in there. She's very glittery. So we'll empty out the excess out of here, put the radiator cap on, let it get the temp, turn it off, let it cool down, then we'll top it off, we'll come back and we'll take it for a drive. Okay, it has been a little bit, probably about an hour and a half. Like, now it's 11 p.m. on a Friday and I'm going off-roading tomorrow morning. So these are always the best ones. But that's actually pretty good. That's like a normal amount of pressure. So that's all right. And it doesn't look too bad in there. It doesn't look like we're gonna need to fill it up very much, but I will top it off because that is empty. So yeah, there's air in there. So we'll top it off just a bit, but you can see the sparkly in there for sure from all that metallic that was in the bottle that we poured in. So let's go, let's fill it up, let's top it off, we'll take it for a drive, and if she's good, we're sending it tomorrow. Well, it needed barely anything. You can see I tried to fill it and overflowed it everywhere myself. Now let's start her up. But honestly, after that new alternator, she's running quiet, like super quiet. So like, that's the best that she's ran in a while. No squealing, no nothing. Now, let's take it for a drive and see what happens. Well guys, been driving it easy for the past about 20 minutes. It's been doing good. I've been running the heat and everything is pretty much working out as it should. The temperature hasn't been fluctuating at all. It's been staying rock steady at 100. So I'm feeling pretty confident. Now let's go and let's park it and let's see if she's bubbling or boiling or anything like that. But so far, so good. And she's been running super quiet now that I actually have that alternator changed. No more squealing, no more nothing. And I'm feeling a little bit more confident to take it off-road tomorrow. All right, so I'm with my boy Dave, and he's like, I actually just got the drum brakes as well, and he's like, no way, so the e-brake works? And I'm like, yeah, boy. Like, look, what? Like 3 clicks, 3 clicks, and 3, and we're not moving. Like, look, and I'm not holding the brakes, nothing. Like, I'm holding the clutch just because I don't know if it's, yeah, it's not in gear, but like, look at that. That's some magic right there. I don't know how long it's gonna last. Maybe one trail, maybe half a trail. Maybe by the time I get to the trail, it's not even gonna work anymore, but it works right now. And that one works too, for now. But even that one, like from brand new, it's already stretched from like, it used to be 3 clicks, now it's at like 7. So like, Jeep life. And that thing's at 15,000 kilometers. Like, yeah. Yeah. But hey, she's running healthy. Listen to this. Like, yo, I'm feeling pretty good about that. All right. The bird is good again. Let's go see after we turn it off quickly if she is boiling over and how that reservoir looks. So reservoir is more full actually. It is more full. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. So it's right there. When we started out, it was probably around there. So there is more in the reservoir right now.
Yeah, it came up just like maybe a 1/4 inch.
Yeah, it definitely did come up. So it doesn't feel as pressurized as it did before though. So I'm thinking that stuff is starting to work its way through the system and do something. Should we take it on the highway once and give it a boot and see? Or should we leave it?
Fuck, if it was me and you're heading out 3 hours tomorrow, I would.
Okay.
Better now than tomorrow.
Yeah. All right, maybe we'll take her out one more time, give her a good boot and see exactly what happens.
5th gear pinned.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, we're on the 401, and fun fact, if you guys aren't from Canada, apparently the 401 is the busiest highway in North America. I didn't know that. Busier than the ones in LA, New York, and anything that you guys are complaining about over there. But no, honestly, it sucks. I'm sure yours sucks too. But we're giving her a good boot. Temperature's staying steady as well, so I don't know. We're doing all right. We're gonna keep giving her a boot, keep giving her the beans for a minute, and once we get home, we'll see if she pukes any more coolant. All right, so I gotta tell you, we were not nice to it. We were definitely given the beans, and at one point I was just bouncing it off the limiter for fun. So if it was gonna leak, it would have leaked. All right. This looks a little fresh, but I think that's from when I filled it because
This is good, it didn't move.
it didn't move, eh?
No.
So you know what? I think that stuff made its way through. The hose doesn't feel crazy either. Like, I don't know, you tell me, does it feel normal?
This is still the same temp. That feels...
It doesn't feel crazy.
That's fair.
Like, it's still malleable.
You got some heat in here now.
That's good.
Worked it, yeah.
Yeah?
That's all the same that it was.
That, yeah, pretty much. And the cap is still cool, but that's okay. That's normal. Yeah, honestly, guys, I'm feeling pretty confident. Maybe she's got a cracked block. Maybe she's got a blown head. Maybe she's got a whole bunch of other problems. But am I gonna send it? You better bet your ass I am. And like, this thing's got so many new parts at this point. Like, I'm feeling pretty good. Like, new alternator, new oil pan, new reservoir for the power steering, which looks kind of sweaty over here, but I think that's maybe just from them filling it. And look at that, they do quality work, because any bolt that they touch, they paint mark, so you can see anything that moves, anything that is loose. But yeah, like, we've got new brakes in the front, new brakes in the rear. They checked all my ball joints and tie rods, and surprisingly, believe it or not, I have not done a single ball joint or tie rod in over 2.5 years. Knock on Jeep. But like, straight up, guys, I don't believe it. I don't understand how, but every time I take it to them, they say, yeah, it's good. We can do your alignment. Everything's tight. And even Chris at the shop today told me, he's like, I don't know how, but it's tight. So it's tight. Like, fuck me. Like, we're good to go. So I think we got lucky on this front. So far, I'm pretty much gonna say we're okay, and I'm feeling confident to take it out tomorrow. Whoo, and geez, look at that oil pan, guys. Take that in, because it's not gonna last like that for very long. And everything is paint marked. Like I said, guys, these guys do quality work. And if you want to take your Jeep there and you need anything done, definitely check them out. they were kind enough to hook me up with some stickers. So if you guys want, go and definitely look these guys up. Tell them that some crazy guy sent you, and maybe they'll hook you up. But honestly, thank you to Chris and everybody there at TFT Off-Road for helping me with the Jeep. I really appreciate all of their help, all of their work, and hopefully we can actually put it to good use. Well guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking around. I know this one wasn't as interesting, but I've got a couple really good ones for you coming up. And I've actually got 3 or 4 pretty interesting videos lined up. So definitely stay tuned for that. And if you guys are new around here, please jump down there, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, because as you guys can see, we're working hard to make great content for you guys, and hopefully you're enjoying it. But hopefully you guys will be here for the next one. So until then guys, ride safe out there. Peace.